A chance encounter. The desolate plains of Zeta 9 stretched endlessly under twin suns, a barren wasteland of rust-colored sand and jagged rock formations. Sergeant Elena Rees adjusted her helmet's filtration system, grateful for the protection against the planet's toxic atmosphere. She'd been patrolling this godforsaken rock for weeks as part of the United Earth Coalition's peacekeeping force, though peace felt like a hollow concept on a world ravaged by interstellar war. Elena's gaze swept across the horizon, her augmented vision scanning for any signs of life or movement. The Krax invasion had left Zeta 9 a graveyard, its native inhabitants either evacuated or— Elena shuddered, pushing the grim thought aside. Her job was to maintain the quarantine, nothing more. A flicker of motion caught her eye, barely perceptible against the swirling dust. Elena froze, her hand instinctively moving to the pulse rifle at her hip. She zoomed in, heart racing as the image resolved. There, half buried in the sand, was a figure. Small, alien, and unmistakably alive. "Command, this is Reeves." Elena spoke into her comm, voice tense. "I've got a situation here. Possible survivor, non-human, requesting backup and medical support." Static crackled in response. Elena cursed under her breath. The planet's magnetic field played havoc with their communications. She was on her own. Caution warred with compassion as Elena approached the alien. Its silvery skin was marred with cuts and burns, its frail body wrapped in tattered cloth. As she drew closer, the alien's eyes fluttered open, 4 of them, arranged in a diamond pattern, their irises a swirling kaleidoscope of color. It wasn't a species Elena recognized, which meant it definitely wasn't supposed to be here. The alien's lips moved, forming words Elena couldn't understand. Its voice was barely a whisper, raw with pain and desperation. "Easy there," Elena soothed, kneeling beside the alien. "I'm not going to hurt you. Can you understand me?" The alien's eyes widened, a flicker of comprehension sparking within them. It nodded weakly. Elena's training kicked in. She ran a medical scan, grimacing at the results. Multiple injuries, severe dehydration, and worryingly high levels of radiation exposure. Without proper treatment, the alien wouldn't last much longer. "I'm going to help you," Elena said, reaching for her medkit. "But I need to know, are there others? How did you get here?" The alien's eyes darted nervously, fear evident in its gaze. It shook its head emphatically, then winced at the movement. Okay, Elena said softly. "Just you then. Let's get you patched up." As Elena worked, administering painkillers and applying nano-bandages to the worst of the wounds, her mind raced. Protocol dictated she should report this immediately, hand the alien over to the proper authorities. But something about the creature's fear, its desperate bid for survival, stirred something in Elena. She joined the coalition to protect the innocent, not abandon them to bureaucracy. "What's your name?" Elena asked as she finished her ministrations. "Can you tell me that much?" The alien hesitated, then spoke in a voice like chimes in the wind. "Zara, she said. I am Zara." Elena nodded, a small smile tugging at her lips. "Nice to meet you, Zara. I'm Elena. Now, let's get you somewhere safe." With gentle hands, Elena lifted Zara into her arms. The alien was surprisingly light, her body cool to the touch even through Elena's protective suit. As they made their way towards Elena's patrol vehicle, Zara's eyes never left her savior's face, a mix of gratitude and wariness in her gaze. Elena's mind whirled with questions. Who was Zara? How had she ended up alone on this quarantined world? And most pressingly, what would Elena do now? Bringing an unknown alien into a coalition base was a surefire way to end her career, possibly even land her in prison, but leaving Zara to die was unthinkable. As they reached the vehicle, a sleek hovercraft designed for the planet's harsh terrain, Elena made her decision. She'd take Zara to her personal shelter, an abandoned outpost she'd discovered on one of her patrols. It wasn't much, but it would give them time to figure things out. "Hang in there, Zara." Elena murmured as she secured the alien in the passenger seat. "I've got you." Zora's eyes fluttered closed, exhaustion finally claiming her. Elena gunned the engine, sending up a plume of red dust as they sped across the wasteland. Whatever came next, she knew her life would never be the same. The journey to Elena's hidden shelter was tense, every moment fraught with the possibility of discovery. She kept one eye on her sensors, alert for any sign of coalition patrols, or, worse, remnants of the Crack's invasion force. The other eye remained fixed on Zora, monitoring the alien's vital signs with growing concern. As they neared the shelter, a half-buried structure of Crack's design, but Elena had painstakingly repurposed, Zora stared. Her kaleidoscope eyes opened, darting around in confusion before settling on Elena. Where are you taking me?" Zora's voice was stronger now, though still laced with pain and uncertainty. "Somewhere safe," Elena replied, bringing the hovercraft to a stop. "A place where we can get you healed up and figure out our next move." Zora's brow furrowed, the expression startlingly human despite her alien features. "Our next move?" Elena nodded, a wry smile tugging at her lips. "Well, I can't exactly march you into Coalition HQ, can I? Not without a whole lot of questions neither of us is ready to answer." As Elena helped Zora from the vehicle, supporting the alien's slight frame, she felt a surge of protectiveness. There was something about Zora, her vulnerability, her quiet strength, that resonated with Elena on a level she couldn't quite explain. The shelter's entrance arised open at Elena's touch, revealing a sparse but functional living space. Elena had done her best to make it homey, but it still bore the cold, utilitarian hallmarks of Crack's architecture. Zora tensed at the sight, a small gasp escaping her. "It's okay," Elena soothed, guiding Zora to a makeshift bed. "I know it looks like Crack's tech, but I've gutted most of their systems. It's safe, I promise." Zora nodded, though her eyes continued to dart nervously around the room. As Elena helped her lie down, the alien's hand brushed against something at her throat, a small glowing pendant Elena hadn't noticed before. "What's that?" Elena asked, curiosity piqued. Zora's hand closed protectively around the pendant. "It is important," she said simply, her tone making it clear she wouldn't elaborate further. Elena nodded, respecting the alien's privacy for now. She busied herself with preparing a nutrient solution suitable for Zora's physiology, her mind racing with questions. Who was Zora really? What was she doing on Zeta 9? And what secrets did that mysterious pendant hold? Escape from the wasteland. As the first light of Zeta 9's twin suns crept over the horizon, Elena jolted awake, her soldier's instincts on high alert. Something was wrong. The shelter's proximity alarms hadn't gone off, but years of combat had honed her sixth sense for danger. She glanced over at Zora, who lay curled on the makeshift bed, her silvery skin shimmering in the dim light. The alien stirred, her 4 kaleidoscope eyes blinking open with an almost audible click. "Elena." Zora's melodic voice was tinged with concern. "What is it?" Before Elena could respond, a low rumble shook the shelter. Dust rained down from the ceiling as the tremors intensified. This was no natural quake. Elena recognized the telltale vibrations of heavy dropships entering the atmosphere. "We've got company," Elena growled, springing into action. She began gathering supplies, shoving them into a rucksack with practiced efficiency. "Can you walk?" Zora nodded, pushing herself up with visible effort. I think so." "Elena, I'm sorry. They've come for me." Elena paused, her hand hovering over her pulse rifle. "Who's come for you, Zora?" "The Cracks." The alien shook her head, her eyes downcast. "No, my people. The Aetheri. I am a fugitive." The revelation hit Elena like a punch to the gut. She'd risked everything to save this alien, and now she learned Zora was some kind of criminal. But there was no time for recriminations. Whatever Zora had done, leaving her to face an angry mob wasn't an option. "We'll talk about this later," Elena said, tossing Zora a protective suit. "Right now, we need to move." As Zara struggled into the suit, Elena's mind raced. The shelter's location was supposed to be secret, yet somehow Zara's people had tracked them here. That pendant, it had to be some kind of beacon. But if that were true, why hadn't the coalition picked up on it? Another tremor rocked the shelter, more violent this time. The sound of engines grew louder, accompanied by the distinctive whine of energy weapons powering up. "Time's up," Elena muttered. She grabbed Zara's hand, pulling the alien towards the shelter's emergency exit, a narrow tunnel that led to a hidden cavern where Elena kept a backup vehicle. As they emerged into the harsh light of day, Elena's worst fears were confirmed. 3 sleek, silver ships hovered above the shelter, their design unlike anything in the Coalition's database. Figures were already rappelling down, their forms obscured by shimmering energy fields. "Zara of House Lyrax," a booming voice echoed across the wasteland. "By order of the Aetheri Conclave, you are bound for return. Surrender the Chronomancer's heart, and your sentence may yet be commuted." Zara's hand flew to her pendant, terror etched across her alien features. "Elena, please," he whispered. "I can't go back. You don't understand what they'll do to me." Elena's training screamed at her to stand down, to let this play out. This was an internal matter for an advanced alien civilization. Getting involved could spark an interstellar incident, maybe even a war. But as she looked into Zara's pleading eyes, she knew she couldn't abandon her. "Hold tight," Elena growled, revving the backup vehicle's engine. It was an older model, less advanced than her patrol craft, but it had one crucial advantage: it was untraceable. With a roar of defiance, Elena gunned the engine. The vehicle burst from its hiding place, kicking up a storm of red dust. Shouts of alarm erupted from the Aetheri soldiers, followed by the sizzle of energy weapons. "Keep your head down," Elena shouted as she swerved to avoid the incoming fire. The vehicle's shields groaned under the assault, but held for now. Zara clung to her seat, eyes wide with a mix of terror and exhilaration. "Elena, you're actually fighting them. For me?" A bolt of energy grazed the vehicle, sending sparks cascading over the windshield. Elena gritted her teeth, executing a series of evasive maneuvers that sent them skidding across the uneven terrain. "Yeah, well," she grunted, narrowly avoiding a gaping fissure in the planet's surface. "I've got a bad habit of finishing what I start. Now, want to tell me what that thing around your neck is, and why they want it so badly?" Zara's hand tightened around the pendant. "It's called the Chronomancer's heart. It's a key of sorts, to a power my people have guarded for millennia." Another blast rocked the vehicle. In the rearview mirror, Elena saw one of the Aetheri ships gaining on them, a crackling tractor beam extending from its prow. "A key to what?" Elena pressed, her knuckles white on the steering wheel. Zara took a deep breath. "To time itself." The implications of Zara's words hit Elena like a physical blow. Control over time. The strategic possibilities were endless and terrifying. No wonder the Aetheri was so desperate to get it back. But why had Zara stolen it in the first place? There was no time to dig deeper. The tractor beam latched onto their vehicle, sending it into a wild spin. Warning lights flashed across the dashboard as the engines strained against the inexorable pull. "Hang on," Elena shouted. She reached for the emergency throttle, a last-ditch measure that would overload the engines. It was risky, potentially suicidal, but it was their only shot at breaking free. As her hand closed around the throttle, time seemed to slow. Elena saw Zara's eyes widen, saw her hand move towards the pendant. A blinding light erupted from the alien artifact, enveloping the entire vehicle. For a moment, Elena felt weightless, disconnected from reality. Images flashed before her eyes, glimpses of possible futures, paths not taken. She saw herself in Coalition uniform, receiving a Medal of Valor. She saw herself in a prison cell, broken and alone. She saw Earth burning. Then, as suddenly as it began, the light faded. Elena blinked, disoriented. The Aetheri ships were gone. The barren landscape of Zeta 9 had vanished, replaced by a verdant forest unlike anything she'd ever seen. Massive trees with luminescent leaves stretched towards an alien sky, their trunks wider than buildings. "Zara?" Elena croaked, her throat dry. What did you do?" The alien slumped in her seat, the pendant's glow fading to a dull flicker. "I'm sorry," Zara whispered. "I had no choice. They can't follow us here, or rather, now." "What do you mean now?" Elena demanded, a creeping suspicion forming in her gut. Zara's kaleidoscope eyes met Elena's, filled with a mixture of relief and trepidation. "We've traveled through time, Elena. To my homeworld, long before the war that drove us to the stars. Before the chronomancer's heart was locked away." Elena sat in stunned silence, trying to process the impossible. She'd signed up to be a peacekeeper, to make a difference in a war-torn galaxy. Instead, she found herself stranded in a distant past, consorting with a time-traveling fugitive. As the implications began to sink in, Elena realized the true weight of her decision to save Zara. She hadn't just risked her career or her life, she potentially altered the course of history itself. "All right," Elena said finally, her voice steady despite the turmoil in her mind. "You've got some explaining to do. But first, we need to find somewhere safe. I have a feeling things are about to get a whole lot more complicated." Zara nodded, a look of determination replacing the fear in her alien eyes. "I know a place. A sanctuary, hidden from my people's senses. But Elena, are you sure you want to be involved in this? Once we go down this path, there may be no going back." Elena laughed, a short, sharp sound tinged with equal parts hysteria and resolve. "Little late for second thoughts, don't you think? I'm already a deserter and a timeline hijacker. Might as well see this through." As they drove deeper into the luminescent forest, leaving behind everything Elena had ever known, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Whatever Zara's reasons for stealing the chronomancer's heart, whatever consequences awaited them in this alien past, one thing was certain: the fate of multiple worlds, maybe even the entire timeline, now rested in their hands. The vehicle hummed softly as it navigated between the massive trunks of the bioluminescent trees. Elena's eyes darted constantly, taking in the alien beauty of this ancient world while remaining alert for any sign of danger. Beside her, Zara sat in tense silence, her four-fingered hand still clutched protectively around the chronomancer's heart. "So," Elena said, breaking the silence, "I think it's time you filled me in on what exactly is going on. Why did you steal that thing? And why are your people so desperate to get it back?" Zara sighed, her kaleidoscope eyes dimming slightly. "It's complicated. The chronomancer's heart isn't just a time travel device. It's a key to the nexus, a point where all timelines converge. With it, one could theoretically reshape reality itself." Elena whistled low. "That's a hell of a lot of power. No wonder they want it back. But why did you take it?" "Because they were going to use it," Zara said, her voice barely above a whisper. "The Conclave, our ruling body, they've grown corrupt. They plan to use the heart to erase rival houses, to consolidate their power across all of time and space. I couldn't let that happen." Elena's mind reeled at the implications. "So you stole it and what? Planned to destroy it?" Zara shook her head. "The heart can't be destroyed, not by any means we possess. I planned to hide it, to scatter its components across time and space, where they could never be reassembled. But I was caught before I could complete the ritual. I managed one last desperate jump, and that's when you found me." The pieces started to fall into place in Elena's mind. "That's why you were alone on Zeta 9. A random jump to throw off your pursuers." "Exactly," Zara confirmed. "I never meant to drag anyone else into this, especially not someone from a less advanced civilization. No offense." Elena snorted. "None taken. Though I'd say we humans have a few surprises up our sleeves." As if on cue, the vehicle's sensors began to beep urgently. Elena's eyes snapped to the readout, her blood running cold. Zara, please tell me your people haven't invented flying predators the size of shuttlecraft. Zara leaned forward, her eyes widening in alarm. Skyreaver swarm. We must have entered their hunting grounds. Quick, head for that ravine. Elena gunned the engine, sending them hurtling towards a narrow gap between two colossal tree trunks. Above them, the canopy rustled ominously. Through gaps in the luminescent leaves, Elena caught glimpses of massive winged shapes descending rapidly. "Hold on," Elena shouted as she pushed the vehicle into a steep dive. They plunged into the ravine, the sides of the vehicle scraping against rough bark. Behind them, Elena heard the frustrated screeches of the Skyreavers, too large to follow. As they emerged from the other side of the ravine, a vast clearing opened up before them. And there, nestled among the roots of the largest tree Elena had ever seen, stood a structure that defied belief. It was a temple, its silver spires twisting impossibly upwards, merging with the tree's branches in a seamless fusion of nature and technology. Ethereal light pulsed along its surface in hypnotic patterns. "The sanctuary of the fallen star," Zara breathed, awe evident in her voice. "I wasn't sure it would be here in this time period. We're safe now." As they approached the temple, Elena felt a tingling sensation wash over her. The air shimmered, and suddenly the forest around them changed. The trees were older, more gnarled. The temple itself seemed to flicker between states of repair and decay. "What's happening?" Elena asked, fighting down a wave of nausea. "The sanctuary exists in a state of temporal flux," Zara explained. "It's shielded from the normal flow of time. The conclave can't track us here." They brought the vehicle to a stop at the base of the temple. As they exited, Elena marveled at the alien architecture. Symbols she couldn't begin to comprehend crawled along the walls, glowing with an inner light. "So what now?" Elena asked, her hand instinctively checking her weapon. "We can't hide here forever." Zara nodded, her expression grim. "No, we can't. But the sanctuary's archives might hold the key to completing the ritual. If we can scatter the components of the heart." She trailed off, her gaze distant. Elena could see the weight of responsibility bearing down on the alien's slender shoulders. "Hey," Elena said softly, placing a hand on Zara's arm. "We'll figure this out, together." Zara's kaleidoscope eyes met Elena's, gratitude shining within their swirling depths. "Thank you, Elena. I've never had anyone willing to stand beside me like this." As they made their way up the temple steps, Elena couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. She joined the coalition to make a difference, to stand against injustice. She never imagined it would lead her here, to the distant past of an alien world, fighting to save the very fabric of time itself. But as she looked at Zara, at the determination and hope in the alien's eyes, Elena knew she'd made the right choice. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever cosmic forces they might face, they would face them together. Human and ethery, united in a cause greater than themselves. The massive doors of the sanctuary swung open silently, revealing a vast hall filled with swirling lights and holographic displays. As they stepped inside, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that they stood on the precipice of something monumental. The fate of countless worlds, of time itself, now rested in their hands. And deep within the temple, unbeknownst to either of them, an ancient intelligence stirred. The game was afoot, and the pieces were finally in play. The quantum labyrinth. The interior of the sanctuary of the fallen star defied human comprehension. Elena's eyes struggled to focus on the ever-shifting architecture, walls seamlessly transitioning between organic crystal and hyper-advanced technology. Holographic displays flickered in and out of existence, showing glimpses of timelines and realities that made her head spin. "Welcome to the heart of temporal research," Zara said, her voice filled with reverence. "This place holds knowledge from across the multiverse." As they ventured deeper into the temple, Elena noticed something unsettling. "Zara," she whispered, "where are all the other ethery? Shouldn't a place like this be crawling with scientists or guards?" Zara's kaleidoscope eyes darkened. "It should be. The absence of my people is concerning. A low hum began to reverberate through the chamber, growing in intensity. Suddenly, a blinding light erupted from the center of the room. Elena instinctively shielded her eyes, reaching for her weapon. When the light faded, a figure stood before them, or rather, floated. It was humanoid in shape, but its body was composed of swirling energy, constantly shifting between different states of matter. "Greetings, Time Walkers," the being's voice echoed in their minds rather than their ears. "I am the curator, keeper of the quantum labyrinth." Elena's jaw dropped. "You're an heir." The curator's form rippled with what might have been amusement, a crude approximation, but not inaccurate. "I am a consensus intelligence, born from the combined knowledge of countless civilizations across the multiverse." Zara stepped forward, her hand clutching the chronomancer's heart. "Great curator, we seek your aid. The heart must be." "Scattered, yes," the curator interrupted. "I have foreseen this moment, Zara of House Lyrax, but the path you seek is fraught with danger beyond imagining." The chamber around them shimmered, transforming into a vast starscape. Galaxies swirled overhead, timelines stretching between them like gossamer threads. "The quantum labyrinth lies before you," the curator intoned. "Within its depths, you will find the means to separate the heart's components and scatter them across reality. But be warned, the labyrinth is a place of infinite possibilities. One wrong step could unravel the very fabric of existence." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. "And let me guess, we're the only ones who can do this." The curator's form pulsed with approval. "Indeed, Elena Reeves of Earth. The labyrinth requires a symbiosis, the intuitive leaps of a younger race, combined with the temporal attunement of the ethery. You two together represent a unique he." Zora's eyes widened. "That's why the sanctuary was empty. You were waiting for us." "Perceptive," the curator acknowledged. "Now you must make a choice. Enter the labyrinth, face its trials, and attempt to save reality itself. Or walk away, and let the consequences fall as they may." Elena looked at Zara, seeing her own determination mirrored in the alien's swirling eyes. Without a word, they both nodded. "Very well," the curator said. "The quantum labyrinth awaits." The starscape around them twisted, reshaping itself into an impossible geometry. Corridors of pure energy stretched in every direction, intersecting and overlapping in ways that hurt to look at directly. "Remember," the curator's voice faded as its form dispersed, "what you experience in the labyrinth is both real and unreal. Trust in each other and in the strength of your bond." With that cryptic advice, Elena and Zara found themselves alone at the entrance to the quantum labyrinth. The path ahead pulsed with potential, an infinite maze of time and space stretching before them. "Well," Elena said, checking her weapon one last time, "I guess this is where the real adventure begins. You ready for this, Zara?" The ethery's hand found Elena's, squeezing it gently. "With you by my side, always." Together, human and alien stepped into the unknown, the fate of all reality hanging in the balance. The first challenge hit them almost immediately. As they entered the labyrinth proper, the corridors split into multiple branches, each showing a different potential future. "Look," Zara gasped, pointing to one path where they saw themselves triumphant, the heart successfully scattered. "Yeah, but check that one out," Elena countered, indicating another where they lay broken and defeated, the ethery conclave looming over them. "We can't trust what we see," Zara realized. "The labyrinth is testing us, showing us what we fear and what we hope for." Elena nodded, her military training kicking in. "Right. So we focus on the present, on what's real between us. The rest is just noise." They pressed on, facing increasingly bizarre and challenging obstacles. In one chamber, they found themselves reliving pivotal moments from their pasts, forced to confront their deepest regrets and make peace with their choices. Elena watched a younger version of herself turn down a chance at a normal life, choosing instead to enlist in the coalition forces. Zara faced the moment she decided to steal the chronomancer's heart, seeing the pain it caused her family. "It's not real," Elena reminded her companion, even as tears streamed down her own face. "We made our choices. We're here now, and that's what matters." Zara nodded, composing herself. "You're right. The past is prologue. We must focus on the future we're fighting to protect." As they progressed deeper into the labyrinth, the challenges became more abstract. They navigated paradoxes that threatened to tear their minds apart, solved equations that rewrote the laws of physics, and faced entities that existed simultaneously across multiple timelines. Through it all, Elena and Zara's bond deepened. They learned to rely on each other's strengths, Elena's quick thinking and adaptability complementing Zara's vast knowledge and temporal intuition. Finally, they reached the heart of the labyrinth. A massive chamber opened before them, its walls lined with swirling portals to different times and realities. At the center floated a structure that defied description, part machine, part organic, part pure energy. The nexus, Zara breathed in awe, the point where all timelines converge. As they approached, the chronomancer's heart began to pulse violently. Zara winced in pain, the artifact's power threatening to overwhelm her. "Elena," she gasped, "I can't. It's too much. You have to complete the ritual. You have to scatter the heart's components." Elena's eyes widened in alarm. "Me? But I don't know how. I'm not ethery. I don't have your connection to time." Zara managed a weak smile. That's why it has to be you. An outsider, unbound by our preconceptions. Trust your instincts, Elena. Trust in what we've learned together." With trembling hands, Zara removed the heart and pressed it into Elena's palms. The moment Elena's fingers closed around it, she felt a rush of power unlike anything she'd ever experienced. Images, sounds, entire lifetimes flashed through her mind in an instant. Elena staggered, nearly overwhelmed by the influx of temporal energy, but then she felt Zara's hand on her shoulder, anchoring her to the present. "You can do this," Zara's voice cut through the chaos. "I believe in you, Elena." Drawing on every ounce of her training and willpower, Elena forced herself to focus. She approached the nexus, guided by an intuition she didn't fully understand. Her hands moved of their own accord, separating the heart into its component parts. With each piece she removed, Elena felt reality itself shift around them. She saw glimpses of the components scattering across time and space, one buried in the heart of a dying star, another lost in the quantum foam between universes, a third becoming part of the very fabric of a nascent reality. As the final piece left her hands, a shockwave of temporal energy exploded outward. Elena felt herself falling, tumbling through the void between moments. The last thing she saw before darkness took her was Zara's face, a mixture of pride, relief, and something deeper shining in her alien eyes. When Elena regained consciousness, she found herself back in the main chamber of the sanctuary. Zara lay beside her, stirring groggily. The curator's energy form hovered nearby, its swirling patterns somehow conveying approval. "It is done," the curator's voice resonated in their minds. "The chronomancer's heart has been scattered beyond the reach of any one power. You have saved reality itself from tyranny." Elena sat up, her head still spinning. "So that's it. We've won." The curator's form rippled. "In this timeline, yes. But the multiverse is vast, and the consequences of your actions will echo across realities in ways even I cannot fully predict." Zara struggled to her feet, leaning on Elena for support. "What happens now? To us?" "That," the curator said, its tone almost warm, "is up to you. You have seen wonders few mortals could comprehend. You have changed the course of history itself. The question is not what happens to you, but what will you do with the knowledge and power you now possess?" Elena looked at Zara, seeing her own mix of exhaustion, exhilaration, and uncertainty reflected in the alien's eyes. They had started this journey as strangers, a human soldier and an alien fugitive. Now they were something more. Partners, protectors of reality itself. Whatever we do, Elena said firmly, taking Zora's hand in hers, we do it together. Zora nodded, a smile spreading across her alien features. Together, she agreed. As they turned to face the exit of the sanctuary, the infinite possibilities of the multiverse stretched out before them. They had saved reality, but their greatest adventure was just beginning. The curator's voice followed them as they stepped into the unknown. Remember, Time Walkers, the choices you make, the lives you touch. These are the true threads that weave the tapestry of existence. Go forth and write your own destiny. With the weight of infinite realities on their shoulders and the bond of their shared trials binding them together, Elena and Zara set out to explore the vast, wondrous multiverse they had sworn to protect. Their story, like time itself, had only just begun. Echoes of eternity. The multiverse shimmered around Elena and Zara as they stepped out of the sanctuary of the fallen star. The familiar bioluminescent forest had been replaced by a kaleidoscope of realities, each one bleeding into the next like watercolors on a cosmic canvas. Whoa, Elena breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. I don't think we're in Kansas anymore, Zara. The ethereal tilted her head, confusion evident in her swirling eyes. I don't understand that reference, but I agree with the sentiment. We've entered the multiversal nexus. As they watched, entire galaxies coalesced and dissolved before their eyes. Civilizations rose and fell in the span of heartbeats. The very fabric of reality seemed to pulse with infinite possibilities. So, Elena said, trying to ground herself in the face of such cosmic spectacle, any idea where we should go first? The curator wasn't exactly big on giving directions. Zara's hand absently touched the spot where the chronomancer's heart had once rested. I believe we need to follow the echoes. The echoes. As if in response to Elena's question, a haunting melody filled the air. It was unlike anything Elena had ever heard, part song, part mathematical equation, part pure emotion. The components of the heart, Zara explained, her voice hushed with awe. They're calling to each other across realities. We scattered them, but they still resonate with the same fundamental frequency. Elena nodded, pretending to understand. Right, so we follow the space music. Got it. As they set off towards the source of the nearest echo, the landscape around them continued to shift and change. One moment, they were walking across a field of crystal flowers, each blossom containing a miniature universe. The next, they found themselves navigating a city built from pure thought, its architecture defying the laws of physics. You know, Elena mused as they crossed a bridge made of solidified time. When I joined the coalition, I never imagined I'd end up as some kind of multiversal guardian. Zara smiled, her alien features softening. And I never imagined I'd find an ally, a friend, from a species my people considered primitive. The multiverse is full of surprises. Their conversation was cut short as they rounded a corner and came face to face with themselves. Oh, great, Elena groaned. Evil doppeldangers, because why not? But these weren't exact copies. The other Elena wore ornate armor that seemed to be made of living metal, while the other Zara's body crackled with barely contained temporal energy. Interlopers, the alternate Zara hissed, her voice echoing across multiple timelines. You dare trespass in our domain? Elena's hand went to her weapon, but her doppelganger was faster. With a gesture, Elena found herself frozen in place, unable to move or speak. Now, the armored Elena chided, her voice dripping with false sweetness. Let's not be hasty. After all, it's not every day we get visitors from less enlightened realities. Zara stepped forward, her eyes narrowing. You're the ones who tried to reassemble the heart. You're the threat the curator warned us about. The alternate Zara laughed, the sound shattering reality around them like glass. Warned you? Oh, you poor, naive creatures. The curator is a relic, a forgotten safeguard from a long-dead civilization. We are the future. A future where we rule the multiverse, the armored Elena added. Where every decision, every possibility, bends to our will. Elena felt the temporal grip on her loosen just enough to speak. Let me guess, she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. You two got a taste of cosmic power and decided to go full supervillain. How original. The alternate Elena's eyes flashed with anger. You have no idea of the wonders we've seen, the knowledge we've gained. We've transcended mortality itself. At what cost? Zara demanded. How many realities have you destroyed in your quest for power? The alternate Zara waved a dismissive hand, leaving trails of temporal distortion in its wake. Omelets and eggs, my dear. The multiverse is infinite. What does it matter if a few realities burn? Elena felt rage building inside her. These twisted versions of themselves represented everything she and Zara had fought against. She focused on that anger, using it to fight against the temporal paralysis. It matters, Elena growled, feeling the invisible bonds begin to weaken, because every life, every choice, every moment is precious. That's what makes the multiverse beautiful. With a surge of effort, Elena broke free of the paralysis. In one fluid motion, she drew her weapon and fired at the alternate Elena's armor. The shot never landed. Instead, it froze in midair, caught in a web of temporal energy emanating from the alternate Zara. Foolish, the alternate Zara sneered. Did you really think your primitive weapons could harm us? But Elena was smiling. Nope, but it made for a great distraction. While the alternates had been focused on Elena, Zara had been quietly manipulating the echoes of the chronomancer's heart. Now, she released a burst of temporal energy that resonated with the frozen bullet. The result was spectacular. A cascade of temporal paradoxes erupted around them, reality itself buckling under the strain. The alternates screamed as they were caught in the maelstrom, their forms twisting and distorting. Run, Zara shouted, grabbing Elena's hand. They sprinted through the fracturing landscape, leaping from one shard of reality to the next. Behind them, the pocket universe containing their alternate selves collapsed in on itself, imploding with a silent flash that echoed across dimensions. When they finally stopped running, Elena and Zara found themselves in a quiet glade, eerily reminiscent of the forest where their adventure had begun. That, Elena panted, was too close. Zara nodded, her expression grim. And it's only the beginning. There will be other versions of us out there, other threats trying to harness the power of the heart. Elena straightened up, a determined glint in her eye. Then we'll stop them. All of them. That's our job now, isn't it? Guardians of the multiverse. Zara's kaleidoscope eyes met Elena's, a smile tugging at her alien lips. Indeed, though I suspect job is an inadequate term for the task before us. As if in response to their words, the air around them shimmered. The echoes of the chronomancer's heart grew stronger, more insistent. Looks like our next adventure is calling, Elena said, excitement building in her chest despite the danger they'd just faced. Zara took Elena's hand, intertwining their fingers. Together, Elena squeezed her companion's hand, marveling at how natural it felt despite their alien anatomies. Always. With shared smiles and hearts full of determination, the human soldier and the ethereal fugitive set off towards their next challenge. The multiverse stretched out before them, full of wonders and terrors beyond imagination. They had started as strangers from different worlds, thrown together by chance and cosmic machinations. Now, they were partners, protectors, and perhaps something more, the multiverse's last, best hope against the forces that would seek to control it. As they vanished into the folds of reality, the echoes of the chronomancer's heart sang out across the cosmos. A new legend was being born, one that would resonate through eternity, inspiring hope in countless realities. The saga of Elena and Zara, guardians of the multiverse, had only just begun. The singularity convergence. The multiverse trembled. Across infinite realities, beings of unimaginable power felt a disturbance rippling through the fabric of existence. Something was coming, a cosmic event that threatened to rewrite the very laws of reality. At the heart of this impending cataclysm stood Elena and Zara, their forms radiating with the residual energy of 1,000 vanquished alternate selves. They had traversed countless realities, faced versions of themselves corrupted by power, and emerged victorious. But their greatest challenge lay ahead. "You feel it too, don't you?" Elena asked, her voice barely a whisper. The human soldier's eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, a testament to the cosmic forces now flowing through her. Zara nodded, her kaleidoscope eyes swirling with concern. "The singularity convergence. It's happening sooner than we anticipated." Around them, the pocket universe they had claimed as a temporary sanctuary began to warp and distort. Reality itself seemed to be folding in on itself, compressing infinite possibilities into a single point of unimaginable density. "Explain it to me again," Elena said, her mind racing as she tried to process the scale of what they faced. "What exactly are we up against?" Zara's form flickered, momentarily splitting into multiple versions of herself before coalescing back into a single entity. It was a side effect of their prolonged exposure to the echoes of the chronomancer's heart. Their very beings were becoming untethered from linear existence. "The singularity convergence is the ultimate endpoint of all realities," Zara explained, her voice resonating across multiple frequencies. "It's a point where all possible futures, all potential timelines, collapse into a single, unified state of being. Imagine the birth of the universe in reverse, all of existence compressed into a single point of infinite density and infinite possibility." Elena whistled low. "And let me guess, that's bad news for anyone currently existing in, regular space-time." "Catastrophic," Zara confirmed. "The convergence would erase all individual realities, all free will, all possibility of change or growth. It would be the end of everything we know." A familiar melody filled the air, the haunting song of the scattered chronomancer's heart components. But now, instead of the gentle resonance they had followed across realities, it was a deafening crescendo that threatened to tear apart the very fabric of space-time. The components, Elena realized, her eyes widening. They're being pulled together by the convergence. Zara nodded grimly. "If they fully reassemble, the power released will accelerate the convergence beyond any hope of stopping it. We need to." Her words were cut off as a blinding light erupted around them. When it faded, Elena and Zara found themselves standing in a vast, impossible space. Galaxies swirled beneath their feet like cosmic whirlpools. The boundaries between realities had become tissue-thin, allowing glimpses of infinite parallel worlds. And at the center of it all floated a familiar figure, the curator, its energy form pulsing with barely contained power. "Welcome, Guardians," the curator's voice boomed across realities. "You stand at the precipice of eternity." Elena stepped forward, her hand instinctively reaching for Zara's. "You knew this would happen. The convergence, the heart reassembling. You've been guiding us towards this moment all along." The curator's form rippled with something akin to approval. Perceptive as always, Elena Reeves. "Yes, this was always the intended outcome. The singularity convergence is inevitable, a cosmic constant as immutable as gravity." "But why?" Zara demanded, her voice tinged with betrayal. "Why lead us on this journey across realities if it was all for nothing?" "Not for nothing," the curator corrected. "For everything. The convergence cannot be stopped, but it can be shaped. That is why I chose you, a human and an ethery, representatives of linear and non-linear thinking. Together, you have the potential to guide the convergence, to ensure that what emerges from the other side is not the death of all things, but a new beginning." The space around them shuddered violently. Cracks began to appear in the fabric of reality itself, glowing with the blinding light of creation or annihilation. "The choice is yours," the curator continued, its form beginning to dissipate. "Embrace the convergence and shape the new reality that emerges, or fight against the inevitable and doom all of existence to oblivion." With those final words, the curator vanished, leaving Elena and Zora alone at the heart of the collapsing multiverse. Elena turned to her companion, her eyes searching Zora's alien features. "So, what do you think? Do we trust the cosmic space octopus and gamble with the fate of all reality?" Despite the gravity of the situation, Zora couldn't help but smile at Elena's irreverent humor. It was one of the many things she had come to love about the human. "I don't think we have much choice. But Elena, shaping a new reality, becoming the architects of existence itself, are we ready for that kind of power? That kind of responsibility?" Elena took a deep breath, squeezing Zora's hand. "Honestly, no, but I don't think anyone ever is. We've seen what happens when people think they're ready for that kind of power. All we can do is our best, guided by what we've learned, what we've experienced together." The chronomancer's heart components suddenly materialized around them, drawn inexorably towards each other by the pull of the convergence. Elena and Zora reached out in unison, their fingers closing around the artifacts just as they began to merge. Power beyond imagination flooded through them. In an instant, they saw every possibility, every potential future, every path not taken. They saw versions of themselves consumed by darkness, and versions that had achieved transcendent enlightenment. They saw worlds where humanity had never left Earth, and worlds where the Aetheri had conquered galaxies. But more than that, they saw each other, every moment they had shared, every hardship they had overcome, every small kindness, and every grand gesture. They saw the bond that had formed between them, a connection that transcended species, transcended time and space itself. As reality collapsed around them, Elena and Zora made their choice. Not with words, but with the pure intent of their combined beings. They chose hope. They chose growth. They chose the potential for change, for redemption, for love. The singularity convergence reached its peak, all of existence compressed to a single point, and for a moment that lasted an eternity, there was nothing. Then, with a burst of creative energy that dwarfed the Big Bang, a new reality blossomed into being. Slowly, Elena opened her eyes. She found herself lying on a grassy hillside, a warm breeze carrying the scent of flowers she had never smelled before. Above her, the sky shimmered with colors that defied description, hinting at the multiple layers of reality now coexisting in harmony. Beside her, Zora stirred. The Aetheri's form had changed subtly, still alien, but somehow more in tune with the new universe they had helped create. "Did we do it?" Elena asked, her voice filled with wonder and trepidation. Zora nodded, a smile spreading across her features. "We did. Can't you feel it? The potential, the possibilities. We've given existence a fresh start." As they stood, Elena and Zora became aware of presences all around them. Echoes of lives from the old reality, seeds of civilizations yet to be born. They had not erased what came before, but had woven it into the fabric of this new existence, preserving the best of what was while allowing for infinite growth and change. "So what now?" Elena asked, intertwining her fingers with Zora's. "I don't suppose there's a Cosmic Architects for Dummies guidebook lying around." Zora laughed, the sound rippling through multiple layers of reality. "I think we're writing that book as we go, my love. But we're not alone. Every being in this new reality is a co-author, each life a new chapter in the greatest story ever told." As if in response to her words, the world around them began to take shape. Mountains rose in the distance, oceans filled with impossible life, and the first cities of a new age began to shimmer into existence. Elena grinned, feeling the pulse of this new reality beating in harmony with her own heart. "Well then, partner, shall we go introduce ourselves to the neighbors?" Hand in hand, the human soldier and the Aetheri fugitives set off towards the horizon. They had started their journey as reluctant allies, thrown together by cosmic chance. They had become friends, partners, and finally, the saviors and architects of a new existence. But their greatest adventure was just beginning. For in this new reality they had helped shape, every day would bring new wonders, new challenges, and new opportunities to prove that love, hope, and the indomitable human spirit could flourish even in the face of cosmic change. As Elena and Zara walked towards that uncertain but limitless future, the very fabric of existence seemed to hum with anticipation. The singularity convergence had not been an ending, but a beginning, a fresh canvas upon which the greatest story ever told would unfold. And at the heart of it all, a bond between two beings from different worlds served as a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of connection, and a promise that no matter what changes the universe might bring, some things, like love, courage, and the thrill of discovery, would always remain eternal.